Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another Rob's Thoughts here on Rob Plays Games Time. Don't do a lot of these. Don't love doing the talking head because I don't like being on camera super much at the moment. But that's okay because this weekend, not only was yesterday my birthday, I'm old, but today, the Saturday, the day after, is Wrestlmania. Woo! I'm pumped. Wrestlemania 41 night one tonight. So I am a huge wrestling fan. For those of you that don't know, you can see by my wall of Funkos. Well, there's not all of them, and they're very hard to see. But you got Dude Love in here. Where's my finger is backwards mirrored and stuff. And not only that, got the John Cena and The Rock WrestleMania 27 one. It's like, I love wrestling. And the reason I wanted to make a prediction video, I don't normally do these, and by don't normally mean I've never done one of these before. So the reason I want to do is because not only, like I said, am I a huge wrestling fan, I love wrestling, but I had a prediction a couple years ago during the Clash of the Castle match between Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns for the WWE Universal Championship at the time. I had a prediction because I love watching the Cultaholic guys, their 9 pitches stuff. I watch all the dirt sheets. I like to, well, not all of them, but I like to keep informed. So I like to hear what, guys who also watch wrestling, what they were thinking. And one of the things that I was not hearing very much of that I was convinced would be a great storyline, because the whole thing was Jimmy Uso and Jey Uso were not allowed into Scotland at the time for whatever reason, I think is what was going on. So I was like, okay, well, Roman never wins his matches clean. That's the whole tribal chief gimmick, is that he will win, but it'll be by some nefarious reasons. So the best option to do, because nobody was suspected, because they've not even mentioned it or hinted at it, would be to pull up Solo Sikoa from NXT, have him interfere, cost Drew McIntyre the title, Roman continues his reign. And that's exactly what freaking happened. I didn't post about it, I didn't do YouTube at the time, but I think there's one comment I made on one video out there. I'm gonna find it one of these days. But I predicted this, and it came true. So now that it came true, I kind of want to do my own predictions, just so that if I do predict anything crazy, cool, awesome at all that happens, is documented, so that I can point to this and say, woo, I'm not a complete idiot. I'm going to go run down the card, and I'm going to give you my thoughts on each match, and who I think is going to win in my head, and who I want to win in my heart. So the one thing about this year's WrestleMania, it's been a little bit different for me. Let me take a drink there. Gotta wet my whistle. It's been a little bit different for me is I haven't got to watch every second of the Raws and SmackDowns live. I've had to watch a lot of it tape delayed on Netflix or just through stuff on the internet because I've been moving and just some stuff. But I have been keeping up with everything. So we'll start with what's most likely going to be the main event of night one, going to be the Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, CM Punk triple threat match for the fate of Paul Heyman hanging over everyone's brain in a shark cake for the fate of Paul Heyman's soul in ECW, that match. So here's my thoughts on this one. It's going to be controversial because I don't know how to say this. Well, actually, I do know how to say it. I don't like CM Punk very much. Was never a huge fan of him. I think he does great work. I've never watched one of his matches and been like, man, that guy sucks. He's a bad wrestler. Nothing like that. There's just something about him that does not click with me. When he's on the mic giving promos, I think he's one of the best in the business. I love hearing him talk. I love giving him hearing his speeches. But I mean, I watched the CM Punk versus Daniel Bryan feud from 10 years ago. CM Punk Chris Jericho feud. The CM Punk John Cena feud was obviously really good until they Alberto Del Rio, Kevin Nash, Summer of Punk, which was good. The Undertaker CM Punk match at WrestleMania was good. So that's the thing, is none of his matches are terrible. I didn't watch any of his AEW stuff for different reasons, because I only had so much time and could only consume so much wrestling at that point that I had kind of focused mostly on WWE. But he doesn't click for me. He's one of those guys, unfortunately for me. Like I said, I don't hate him. I don't think he sucks. I don't think he needs to lose his job. I think he's a good wrestler. I just don't think he needs to win this match. I think he's in a lot of high-profile matches that he wins against guys that I'm like, okay, in the story, I understand why CM Punk won, but in real life, I don't think Phil Brooks would win. One of those was the Drew McIntyre feud. I think Drew McIntyre should have absolutely murdered him. The whole build up to it, he's just absolutely kicking the crap out of Punk. And then once the matches start, Punk goes 2 of 3. Like, I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, one of my favorite wrestlers in this match being Seth Rollins. I think everything that Seth has done since I started watching him, which was when he got called up from NXT, I did not watch any Tyler Black Ring of Honor stuff, and I did not watch any Seth Rollins pre-main roster, NXT champion Seth Rollins, any of that. But once he came to the main event, I watched pretty much everything he's done. I thought he was going to be the breakout star of the Shield. So before they turned, my plan that I thought WWE was going to go with was Seth's the breakout star and Jon Moxley. Nope. Oh, Braveheart. Dean Ambrose was going to be the one to turn, on the Shield. So when Seth did it, it was a great surprise. That was just an overall great episode. Because I remember back when they were doing the Evolution versus Shield matches, they were hyping them up because it was, Evolution has a combined blah, blah, blah amount of title reigns. Because I don't remember at the time how many they have, because I think Randy's won 1 cent and Triple H has won 1 cent. So the numbers in my brain aren't the same as what they were during that episode. Anyway, the point is, the whole point was, Evolution has all the titles now. The Shield, they don't even want any major titles now at that point. But now, in 10 years, the roles are reversed. Evolution's all retired. And the Shield guys, literally Moxley's running AEW pretty much. Roman Reigns is going to be a Hall of Famer in WWE. Seth Rollins is going to be a Hall of Famer in WWE. But I think Seth needs this match. A lot of people online are saying Punk. They want to see Punk win because everyone loves seeing Punk. But also they think I just think the Seth Rollins spin out of this would be the most interesting. Seth always has one up on Roman, and that's the whole thing. Is Seth's the architect? He's the manipulator. He always has a plan, to the point where while Roman and Punk are doing their thing, I think Seth's got his own thing going, to the point of I think he does need a little bit of a shakeup. Not necessarily character-wise, but give him an edge, not Adam Copeland. Shout out Simon Miller for always making that joke. Make him more of the dastardly heel that he was, when he was running with Buddy Murphy as the Messiah or whatever. Make him that. Punk and Roman can go do their thing. I just like the whole fact that Seth always beats Roman, pretty much. Like, Roman just can't beat Seth. I like that storyline, and I wanted to keep going. Like, the triple threat match? Ambrose beats both of them. There was the one-on-one match because Roman got suspended, but he had to lose the title, where Seth beats him and then Ambrose cashes in. Like, Roman always loses the big matches to Seth. He never beat him during that title reign. That was the one big thing that everyone always said on that title reign was the asterisk being Seth never lost, technically. Seth had the win, but he won by DQ because Roman went crazy and beat him up with a chair. So, I just think, Seth Rollins, heart pick. Seth Rollins, I want Seth to win. He's who I'll be rooting for. I think Punk is probably going to win, just because I think there's more to the Paul Heyman stuff. I don't know if they're going to do more with the Bloodline stuff. The Bloodline stuff and Roman Reigns, Tribal Chief stuff's weird because they've kind of spun him completely away from Solo Sikoa and those guys. But also they're supposedly have got 4 or 5 guys sitting in wait that they've signed that they haven't used. Jeff Cobb, for one, couple other members of the Bloodline. They've said, I believe Hikuleo might be signed. That's not the right person. Who am I thinking of? Anyway. So I think there's going to be more shenanigans. What do they say? Probably a dusty finish in that one. A Vince Russo-esque booking decision probably with that one. Yeah, sorry, I forgot my notes on this one. So I gotta have it on my iPad of what the match card list is. Next, we're gonna go to the women's title match. Charlotte Flair versus Tiffany Stratton. I'm gonna keep this one short because this is one of the ones, like I said, I haven't really been able to watch a lot of the live stuff. I haven't really got to watch any of their stuff. Wasn't really bummed when Charlotte won the Rumble. I thought Charlotte versus Tiffany is going to be a great match. The build has been weird with the whole shooty, you're a jerk, you're divorced, Kaiser's in my DMs, blah, blah, blah. Was it a shoot? Was it a work? It's been weird. I like Tiffany better. I think Charlotte is probably the best women's wrestler WWE has, technically, technical style. Maybe one of the best women's wrestlers of all time. She's not going to get the credit for that until she retires. Her matches are just always, she doesn't have a bad match. It's just one of those things. I think part of the problem, she's got a Rhea Ripley problem. She's too big, she's too strong. She doesn't really have a lot of competitors left. She doesn't really have anything left to do. But I think Tiffany would benefit more from Charlotte beating her and Tiffany having to regain that title in an actual championship match versus cashing it in through Money in the Bank. So I'm a big fan of Tiffany Stratton, fan of Charlotte Flair. I think Charlotte's going to win, and in this one, I actually want Charlotte to win because I think it would help Tiffany down the line going forward. So that's what we're going to call on that one. One more sip, drink real quick, sorry. All right. We got the United States Championship match. Jacob Fatu versus LA Knight. Yeah. Huge fan of LA Knight. Yeah. Jacob Fatu is absolutely amazing since he's come in. He's got the second prettiest moonsault ever. Just because Tiffany Stratton's is absolutely amazing as well. That move he does where he does the fake fake out prettiest moonsault and then jumps and where he's at the top rope and he jumps and then lands here and then backflips off like John Morrison style. That move is absolutely insane. The first time I saw him do that, I was like, how is he not dead? But I just think LA Knight's title reigns have been weird. The whole Shinsuke Nakamura taking the title from him at War Games was weird. For LA Knight to actually be doing stuff with the title, Nakamura to get this new look, a cool new story possibilities come in. He takes the title. They do nothing with Nakamura like they always do. Nothing with him. LA Knight comes back, yeah. Takes the title back, yeah. And Nakamura's gone again. Big fan of Shinsuke Nakamura. I have his entrance music literally on my phone because I love that song so much that when he first debuted, I played it on repeat in my house so much that my wife got so mad at me. It was pretty funny. But was a big fan of Shinsuke Nakamura. That title reign was dumb. I kind of think since LA Knight has won the championship back that they kind of just need to give it to Jacob Fatu and move LA Knight away. He's been dealing with the bloodline for a while. For some reason, he started feuding with Roman Reigns back at Crown Jewel last year for the title. Still dealing with Jacob Fatu and the Tongans. Well, no, just one Tama Tonga. Jeez, because Tongaloa is hurt still. Not Jacob Fatu, Solo Sikoa, being goober that he is. I just think the Bloodline 2.0, as they call them, kind of lost a lot of steam after War Games when Tongaloa got hurt, just because the numbers aren't as big. Solo Sikoa they've kind of just punked him out to everybody at this point. Cody, Roman. So they need a shot in the arm, which I don't know if that's Jacob Fatu winning the title and breaking away, but I would like for this to happen. Jacob Fatu needs to take the title and do his own monster, I'm a freaking amazing badass, have all these great matches, and LA Knight needs to go over here, away from the Bloodline, and go do some other stuff, because I don't think his current, whatever he's doing, is just kind of being stagnant. He's very over still, but because it's the Wrestlmania season, I just don't think there's much for him to do. I would like to see okay, here's what I would like. fantasy booking time. All right, so Jacob Fatu wins the U.S. title. Boom, he goes over there and does his stuff eventually on a collision course. Hopefully, we can keep him and Braun Breaker as the... I just want to see a Braun Breaker versus Jacob Fatu match. I think that would be amazing. A title versus title, not title versus title. Champion versus champion Survivor Series match would be interesting. I don't think Braun Breaker, spoilers, is walking away with that title out of WrestleMania. So I don't think they'll do that, but here's what I would like to fantasy book, okay? Jacob Fatu wins the United States title from LA Knight, at this year's WrestleMania. LA Knight goes into Money in the Bank. And once he wins, he's going to win Money in the Bank this year after his third try. And then he is going to beat one of the champions who's going to win the world title at this year's WrestleMania, which, spoiler, no spoilers, I'm going to get to that match in a second. And when I get to that, I'm going to tell you who I think LA Knight should. Not only do I think LA Knight should win Money in the Bank, I think he should cash in on this person. And I think it would be a great story because I have that fantasy booked as well. So next we have Jade Cargill versus Naomi. I'm going to keep this one short. Have loved the build for this. Jade Cargill is amazing. I've thought Naomi is criminally underrated. Thought she was great all the way back right after she left the Funkadactyls and just started. I thought she's been great since then. She went to TNA, did all her great stuff there. Trinity Fatu, obviously the real life wife of Jimmy Uso, came back. I think she's been a little bit underused. She was a former TNA Women's Champion, I think, or Knockouts Champion. And she just kind of gets slotted back in as the... Dolph Ziggler role is kind of harsh, but she's kind of the Dolph Ziggler role. This whole thing with Jade Cargill has been great. The angle at the Elimination Chamber with Bianca locked in there and just freaking getting crushed on the head by that door by Jade. And then that whole scene, I love watching Bianca's just crying. And then Liv Morgan, who got no credit for this, is just in the corner just berating Bianca like, you did this, you blame me, this is your fault. And Bianca's just crying, going hysterical, and Liv just freaking Harley Quinn in her face. Liv Morgan, by the way, has been amazing since basically 2023 when she came back and started the feud with Rhea Ripley. She's been great for a while. Anyway, I want Naomi to... Basically, I don't care who wins the match. I think there should probably be some shenanigans. What I would like to happen is... Jade Cargill and Naomi are obviously in the middle of the match. Turns out that Bianca Belair was part of it the whole time. I actually think the problem is because this match is going on night 1, and I don't think the other match is going on until night 2. If they had switched that, I think it would have been a lot better. Having Naomi come out and help Bianca in the title match. But I would like it to still be that Naomi and Bianca were working together the whole time to take out Jade Cargill. I think since this match is going off first, it's probably just going to be, they have a good match, Jade beats her, and that's probably how it's going to end. I wish it didn't go down like that, but that's probably how it's going to go just based on where they put it in the booking order. The World Tag Team Championship match, War Raiders, Eric and Ivar versus Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, The New Day. Big fans of The New Day. I don't know what it is. I loved when they were heels initially. After they were the Soul Singers, that didn't work. They turned into the heels. I thought they were one of the best heel tag teams of all time. Naturally turned themselves babyface. I thought the turn on Big E was amazing. I don't know what it is. I just don't want to see I don't want to see Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston as heels, I guess. I don't know. It hasn't been clicking with me. Maybe I just miss Big E so much that I'm just upset. I don't know. However, all that being said, the War Raiders, their reign has been absolute crap. I think they're super talented. Ivar is an absolute amazing wrestler. A big man should not be able to do some of the stuff he can do. But the New Day's had one of, like I said, the best heel turns in recent memory. Sorry, John Cena kind of ruined that on your New Day. If it wasn't for his, yours would probably be one of the best of all time. But War Raiders need to lose. They need to get that title. I'm hoping something's going on with Big E. That's why I've heard this a lot online too. Like, why is this match on WrestleMania, but the SmackDown Tag Team Titles match, which is not only that, it's going to be in a TLC match on SmackDown instead of on WrestleMania, which makes no sense. So there's probably a chance for shenanigans. In my heart, I think the New Day are going to win. In my head, I think the New Day are going to win. It would be a lot more interesting if, honestly, if after they win, Big E comes back and attacks him. I think that would be like, if he's cleared to go, obviously. If he's not cleared to go, just do whatever you're planning. But if Big E is cleared, which I don't think he is at all. So, but I just miss Big E, I'm gonna be honest. Let's see, the rest of night one, we have El Grande Americano versus Rey Mysterio. The reason I got into wrestling, the reason I'm still a big fan of wrestling, Rey Mysterio. I mean, I remember this guy wrestling when I was... Two people I remember for the longest were always Triple H and Rey Mysterio, but I always loved the luchador style. There was that real bad period of WWE in the 20 teens. I still kind of followed it online, but I wasn't watching it. Got into Lucha Underground because, oh my God, they have some amazing matches. Anyway, I'm not going to talk about any of that because that's a story for another time. But anyway, El Grande Americano versus Rey Mysterio. I don't know what to say about this one because I am recording this Saturday morning, like I said, after Friday Night SmackDown. It has not been reported if this match is still going on. It still looked like Rey Mysterio is hurt, and so they haven't really said anything. He got carted out or stretchered out or helped out of his six-man tag match on Friday Night SmackDown with Dragon Lee and Rey Fenix. So what I'm thinking is probably going to happen, they're just going to swap because for some reason he's literally in LWO, but they never use his LWO members for a match if they're going to win. If you've ever noticed that, if the LWO is in the match, they're losing. If it's Dragon Lee and somebody else, they're going to win. So they did Rey Fenix, Rey Mysterio, and Dragon Lee versus the Creed, or versus American Made, and obviously Rey gets hurt. So I think they'll probably swap Dragon Lee into that spot just because they probably don't want Rey Fenix in that spot yet, because I think they probably got bigger plans for him and just swapping him into, especially if they have an angle planned with El Grande Americano, which I think they do, or Chad Gable, whatever you want to call him. I'm a big fan of Chad Gable. Why they never did he's Kurt Angle's illegitimate son and they chose Jason Jordan. They were both very talented wrestlers. I'm not taking anything away from either of them. Those guys, what happened to Jason Jordan, absolutely terrible. But anyway, it is what it is. Like I said, I think if now that Rey's hurt, they'll probably just swap Dragon Lee in there. Probably El Grande Americano gets the win, and Rey beats him at another SummerSlam. Maybe if he's healthy and unmasks him, it's Chad Gable, or Chad wins and just rips his own mask off and is like, "Thank you." I don't know really where they're going with that one now. Last match, the last match for night one should be Jey Uso versus Gunther. For that one, I'm going to keep this short and sweet. Gunther, one of my favorite wrestlers at the moment. Unfortunately for my boy Gunther, Gunther is the final end-of-level boss. He takes the title from somebody during the year. He holds it for a long period of time, builds himself up to end-of-level boss, beats the crap out of said person. This person becomes his WrestleMania opponent and dethrones Gunther because it's a heck of a story. It's the tale as old as time, beauty and the... No, but yes, I mean, Sami Zayn did it, and then immediately got beat by Braun Breaker. Nobody cared that he immediately got beat by Braun Breaker because he beat Gunther. Made Braun Breaker look good because he beat the guy who beat Gunther. I'm pretty sure this is what they're doing with Jey Uso, especially after the whole Gunther murdered Jimmy Uso thing. It's probably what they're doing with Jey Uso. I think I might have said Jimmy anyway. Jey Uso should win against Gunther. And as I was saying earlier, Jey Uso should be the victim of the LA Knight Money in the Bank cash-in. Because this is how I want this to go. Jey Uso beats Gunther. Gunther is so angry that he either has to go away for something or immediately challenges Jay for the title back. They have another match, and what could happen is Jay could lose the title back to Gunther almost immediately, and then get a match like SummerSlam, win the title back in a big old match, 2-time championship. LA Knight takes it from him, kind of like what Damian Priest did to Drew McIntyre. So that's where I'm going to leave that, because that's how I think that should go. Let's jump on to night number 2. Hi, Chloe. My wife's making faces in the background about something. I don't know what's going on with her. Anyway, like I said, we're going to jump on over to night 2, the women's triple threat match for the world title. I realize now, after I'm looking at the time, how long I've been going all these. Big fan of all 3 of those ladies. I love the Io Sky title win on that episode of Raw, because I like when they do a story of like Rhea Ripley is unbeatable basically, except Io Sky. She can't beat Io Sky. If it had been Rhea Bianca, Rhea would have beat Bianca. Bianca versus Io, Bianca probably could beat Io, but Rhea can't beat Io. Io can't beat Bianca, and Bianca can't beat Rhea. It's going to be a great match. My pick for probably match of the weekend, possibly to steal the show. In my heart, I would like Io to retain. I think she's probably my favorite out of the 3 of them. I don't think Rhea needs the title back. She's established. She's in that Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, female. Even all 3 women in this. Well, I'd say 2 of the 3. Io still, she's a main eventer, but she's still more of establishing herself. I think Bianca, Rhea, Charlotte, Becky, Bayley's on that level. They don't need titles anymore at this point. They basically established it. Bianca's held every women's title. She's held them all for long periods of time too, so I think she's pretty much at the point where she doesn't need another title. I think Io needs a statement win. I'm giving my baby girl cuddles here because she's laying on my feet. But I think Io needs a big win in her first title reign when she won it. She didn't really have any of those big wins, and she won it off of Bianca. Dang, I forgot about that too. After Bianca beat Asuka, I'm still mad, and I miss Asuka. Man. Anyway, so yeah, I think Bianca is probably going to win it. I think it's going to be, so here's what I think. If it's Bianca is full-blown heel by this point, depending on what happens with the Jade Cargill match, I think she might win it. I just don't think Io's going to win it, unfortunately. Io's the one I would love to win it. I think they're probably going to go with Bianca or Rhea. That one's hard to call, though. Braun Breaker versus Penta versus Finn Balor versus Dominic Mysterio for the Intercontinental Championships. Ooh, we got some dogs in the house. Sorry about that. There are no dogs in this house because I think Braun Breaker is not leaving this event with his title. However, I don't think he's involved in the pinfall whatsoever. I don't think him or Penta are in the pinfall. I think they're going to do some crazy spot. Either he's going to spear Penta through something insane, or Penta's going to get pissed off and do some insane dive onto Braun Breaker, which is going to lead to shenanigans with Finn Balor and Dominic Mysterio. I almost said Rey Mysterio. I think Finn Balor's going to screw Dominic out of the title, causing a breakup of Judgment Day. I would like it to reverse that. I would like Finn Balor to try and screw Dom out of the title. Dom somehow fall onto the title, like he so like here's what I think would be an interesting one. So what it would have to be is Penta would have to be, I guess, prone for the coup de grace, right? Finn goes, hits the coup de grace on him, and like as he basically hits the coup de grace, Braun Breaker spears him, and they do that, and then Dominic's like dead somewhere and just walks over and pins Penta. Maybe like that'd be the only way where, like, not really the only way, but the way. See, that's the thing. But then Dominic doesn't, like, I think he needs to do one of those like Austin Theory where where Seth Rollins had Austin Theory up in the Bobby Lashley match. Bobby Lashley spears Seth Rollins, basically just drops Austin Theory onto a cover. That's kind of what I think is going to happen with Dominic Mysterio. That's what I want to happen. But I do think more so they're going to do it the opposite way, where basically Dom's set up to win. Probably, like I said, Breaker and Penta are going to murder each other. Somehow Dom's going to get one of them in the ring. Right as he's going to probably get him in the ring, Balor off the top rope with a stomp onto the back of Dom's head, rolls Dom out of there, pins the guy who's laying on the ground, and Balor's the new Intercontinental champion, and then that leads to the breakup of the Judgment Day, which I'm fine with now. The Judgment Day is past its... Unless Finn Balor goes on like a crazy Bullet Club run again, but Carlito and Liv Morgan, right? That's not doing it for me as the Judgment Day anymore. So they can break up. Don't care about that. Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre. This is probably going to be my hardest match to call on this, just because either one of them could win. Both of them need to win. To the point where, or not both of them need to win, both of them could use this as a win, but if either of them loses, there's not really the stakes. Like if Damian Priest beats the absolute crap out of Drew McIntyre and then 2 weeks later Drew's in some match, I'm not gonna be like, well, you just lost to Damian Priest. I'm like, no, he went to war with Damian Priest, so that's fine. And vice versa. Damian gets absolutely killed by Drew McIntyre, and then in a few weeks he's in the Money in the Bank match. Then be like, why is Damian Priest? He just lost to Drew McIntyre. I'll be like, no, he just got killed by an angry Scottish man. He's fine. He's another giant man who went to war with an angry Scottish man. He's fine. So I think I would like Damian Priest to win. I think Drew McIntyre could use the win more, so I think they're going to give it to Drew. Drew's been doing amazing work. He never really seems to get these big wins, kind of like I was talking about with the whole CM Punk feud, so he could probably use a big win here. So let's give it to Drew McIntyre. Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez versus Bayley and Lyra Valkyria for the Women's Tag Team Championship. Honestly, I do not care about this match because I do not understand why the hell is happening. Lyra Valkyria is the Women's Intercontinental Champion. That should be defended in its own match. So that's dumb. Bayley and Lyra Valkyria themselves as a tag team, don't like that because they had this whole tag team gauntlet match. I'm going to get into that for a second. And why that pissed me off was I was looking at the graphic, and I think it was 4 or 3 or 4, like almost 70, an insane amount of the teams in this gauntlet match were having their first match on TV as a tag team, basically in the number 1 contenders match. So you had Natalya and Maxine Dupree. And again, nothing against any of these wrestlers. It just doesn't make sense, you know? Maxine Dupree and Natalya, first match on TV that I can remember. B-Fab and Michin, have they ever had a match together? Don't know. Bayley and Lyra Valkyria, I think that was their first match on TV as a tag team. Even Piper Niven and Alba Fire, who, again, we're bringing this up, why is Chelsea Green's Women's United States title not on the card? Again, this is part of my problem. Why Lyra Valkyria? They could have used somebody else. They could have used Piper Niven and Alba Fire. Probably should have been in this women's title match. Because I think this is not even going to be a match. This is going to be an angle. I think Liv and Raquel retain easily. Bayley turns on Lyra. I do not care because WWE doesn't care about these belts, so why should I? Liv and Raquel are being very much let down by the writing. They've been having great matches. Like I said, Liv has been just absolutely on fire ever since she's had the title. And they're being done a great disservice here by just throwing together teams, trying to make these pretend like they care about these tag team titles when they don't. And it's like they should, because the women involved are great. So they should care, and it sucks they don't. AJ Styles versus Logan Paul. Does Logan ever win a big match? The only one I think he's ever won is Ricochet and Rey Mysterio. And yeah, I'm still mad he beat Rey Mysterio, but Rey Mysterio, he punched in the face with brass knuckles, and Rey Mysterio's kind of that guy who they use like to get beaten, unfortunately. So I hope AJ wins this match. They're probably going to do something crazy. They're probably going to do something insane. Logan is, at least, probably. I think Logan's probably going to win, though, because I have a weird feeling about this one. Randy Orton's Open Challenge. Yeah, I don't really know what to say about this one because So they have a couple people that could be in this spot, right? So they have all these new signings, like I said, but I don't think Randy Orton needs to lose this match. I don't think he needs to have a call-out opponent beat him. I don't think there's any shock opponent I can think of who I'd be okay with coming out and beating Randy on WrestleMania unannounced. Like, I know WWE just signed Jeff Cobb. Jeff Cobb was amazing, is amazing. I watched him in Lucha Underground, Matanza Cueto. Great character, yeah, but you can't bring out a dude like that who, I'm gonna be honest, I'll bet you the majority of, man, look, do you all hear how loud my freaking dryer is? But I don't think Jeff Cobb is known enough to the mainstream audience, but it is WrestleMania to the point where it's not really a mainstream audience at WrestleMania. It's like 50-50. They want to claim that it's mainstream audience, but they get a lot of mainstream attention, but a lot of diehard fans at WrestleMania. Like I said, I don't think Randy really needs to lose. I don't think there's anyone you could surprise me with that I would be like, yeah, they should be Randy Orton. Like, I'm trying to literally think off the top of my head. No one alive, at least. I mean, if they were like, Yokozuna, okay, I'd let Yokozuna beat Randy Orton. But this isn't WWE 2K25. So, hold on, let me look at my wall real quick. Dude Love, no. Kurt Angle, no. Retired. Miz, no. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, The Rock, maybe? Okay, hold on. There could be a match. Randy versus Stone Cold? That's not, like, these aren't happening. Like, there's no way. Randy versus Brock Lesnar again? Not gonna happen. So, Randy Orton versus Stephanie McMahon again? Did she ever get comeuppance for getting RKO'd all those years ago? I mean, Hunter did. Hunter beat the crap out of him, broke into Randy's house, but what did Stephanie really get at the end of the day? She slapped Randy a couple times. Randy Orton versus the Big Show again? That'd be weird. That's what I'm saying. That wouldn't even excite me because, A, I'm a big fan of the Big Show, but the Big Show's 60. Can't walk. So, I just think the Randy Orton match, I'd like the Randy Orton Nick Aldis match. I would like to see Nick Aldis in a match, former NWA World's Heavyweight Champion. But at this point, with no build, no announcement, he did name drop Mickie James. Randy Orton did a couple weeks ago. So I thought they had the opportunity last week on SmackDown to possibly present that. And especially, I think they are going that route. I just don't think they want to start it at WrestleMania. I mean, he's RKO'd Nick Aldis twice now with no repercussions, basically. He's paid him a fine. And not only that, he preempted that by paying him for the first RKO for a second RKO. But Randy, it was only a $25,000 fine. You've paid me $50,000. I can't do an Australian accent. No, the 25 is for the first one. This is for the second one. So anyway, I don't think Randy needs to lose. So Randy goes over Titus O'Neil. Randy Orton, Titus comes down to the ring all excited. Titus World slide under the ring. I'm sorry, that is the greatest moment in WWE history is when Titus O'Neil running down at the greatest Royal Rumble and slid under the... Still thinking about it. All these years later, I can't even think about it without laughing. Oh my God, I need to move on because I'm not gonna be able to talk for the rest of this video. Last but not least, we have obviously John Cena versus Cody Rhodes. I love Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes, big fan. John Cena kept me watching WWE in the dark ages. But this is heel Cena. This is the bad boy John. Bad boy needs to go over. John Cena needs to definitively beat Cody Rhodes. I want no... shenanigans are fine. That's fine. But I need a pinfall. 1, 2, 3, middle of the ring, and Cena reigns until... I had an idea of who should beat Cena. Honestly, I think my hair is terrible. Don't look at my hair. Honestly, what I think should happen, just for Cody to just be screwed by everybody. He's been screwed by Brock, by Dwayne Johnson, like all of his heroes that he says heroes. John Cena now. He needs to lose to Cena, eventually beat it back, win it back. Here's the other way you could go with Money in the Bank. Sorry, Cody. Is if you don't go LA Knight taking it from Jey Uso, I want Randy Orton to take it from Cody. Because that would be just the viperiest of viper things to do. Not only is he, oh, I got your back, Cody. Hey, Cody, I got your back, man, no matter what. But not only is he going to take his title, he's going to take it from him through Money in the Bank. But that's how I think this year's WrestleMania might be shaping up. That's how I hope it shapes up in certain aspects. And other aspects, I just think that's how it's going to shape up. But let me know your thoughts down below. If you want to see me do more Rob's thoughts on whatever you want to hear me talk about, just let me know. If I talk too much, I'm in a big stupid head, let me know that down below as well. Other than that, I hope everyone has a safe weekend. I hope everyone enjoys the show if you're going to watch. And other than that, later, Tater.